That's Boston Marathon bombing survivor Heather Abbott. And a startling opening statement in the bombing trial. Tsarnaev's own attorney said it was him. And we're joined by our legal analyst, Paul Harding from Martin, Harding & Mazzotti. Morning, Paul.
Good morning, Chuck.
Hey, so, were you as startled as us laymen were by this?
Well, it was dramatic, I would say, but startled, no. They're in a scenario where they know that this phase of the trial is not going to go well, meaning there's two phases of the trial. One is guilt or innocence, and then the second one is whether or not there's going to be the death penalty or life in prison. So I think they just sort of decided to take a little air out of the prosecutorial balloon and just say, he did it.
I think the evidence, though, was pretty overwhelming. They caught him in the boat. So, is this a strategy then to just avoid the death penalty by trying to explain how he was coerced into doing this and kind of make people feel sorry for him, that he was kind of a victim of his brothers, and maybe be less inclined to, convict him or give him the death penalty?
Yeah, directly on point. It's going to be an uphill battle, and they know it. They've got so much evidence and new evidence that they appear to be able to show at this trial. But, yeah, they're going to try to pin, the blame and try to pin that this was a young man who was influenced by his older brother, and then in somehow hoping that the trial will be such that they can close it and the jury will give him life in prison. And, of course, I still believe that will be an uphill battle.
Oh, yeah, you do. We're speaking to our legal analyst, Paul Harding from Martin, Harding & Mazzotti. I guess you kind of said that, though. So this whole thing and this whole maneuver is basically, this whole trial is now about the sentencing, right? It's either death or life in prison.
Yeah, and so you got a situation where if he said I wasn't guilty, then they could really, and the trial would have been much longer. The trial's going to be shorter now because now they were going to go through every single facet of proving the guilt, and now if they go through the chase and the boat and all that stuff, it really is relatively meaningless. And he's saying, yeah, that's me. You got it. That I did all those things. So it will shorten the trial, but of course, you can already tell with the opening statements, and they went through witness after witness as to what they're going to produce at trial, graphic photos and video. And so you're going to have a scenario where the jury is going to be able to get lots of evidence in there and all the stuff the prosecutors need to make that push for the death penalty. But it is going to shorten the trial. They're not going to have to go through a lot of the detail, which probably threw the prosecutors a little bit off course. They didn't seem to imply it, but they had a strategy set out, and now it's different.
Now, if they were just going to admit guilt, why wouldn't they just plead guilty to a reduced sentence, or is that not an option in this case?
It's not an option. There's no reduced sentence option being given. Prosecutors are seeking the death penalty, and at this point, they would take that if they were given life in prison without the possibility of parole. By all indications, that's exactly what they are hoping to get at the conclusion of this case.
Paul, thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Okay, guys, take care. We'll be talking more about this for sure.
No, that's for sure. Paul Harding, Martin, Harding & Mazzotti, 1-800-LAW-1010.